Welcome to this edition of Simsbury School News. My name is Dominique Avery. Thanks for joining us for this show designed to give you a closer look at our schools and the people who work there. Last August, Money magazine named Simsbury as one of the top small cities in America. In fact, we were ranked number 9. One of the reasons cited was that the town is a friend to the arts and has been named by the National Association of Music Merchants as one of the nation's best communities for music education. One of the people who is responsible for that music education is my guest today, Angela Griffin, Director of Music and Performing Arts for the entire Simsbury school system. Angela, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dominique. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad you joined us. It's a snowy afternoon. You drove through a little bit of snow, not too much. First of all, let me congratulate you on being recognized by NAM for outstanding commitment to music education. That was very exciting that we were so highly ranked.
Yes.
How did that actually come about?
Well, it's actually a designation that we have received in the past. We also received it in 2010. And it has to do with a culmination of several things. First, obviously, the quality of our music education program here in the district. Our students perform at very high levels. Our teachers are highly skilled, and we are proud and pleased when they are accepted into special programs, adjudications, and performances, including at the state and the national level. But the designation also has to do with the fact of the community and our connection to the community, how the community supports us, and how we reciprocate. And one of the strengths in Simsbury has to do with, in fact, that collaboration. I talk about it sometimes very briefly at the beginning of concerts, just to highlight how wonderful it is that in Simsbury we have such an arts-rich community, and we see the support that comes from the community into our classroom so that our teachers and our students can perform at their best. And I'm just so proud of each and every one of our teachers, what they do on a daily basis, and our students and our parents for how much they support us.
Now, I just was thinking, as you mentioned, the community, that we have the Hartford Symphony here
Yes.
in the summer.
Yes.
And last summer, a former Simsbury High School student who was long before your time conducted.
Yes.
Did you meet him? Did you happen to see that
I
concert?
did not meet him, but I've heard all about him, and it's always an honor when we have Simsbury residents or alum who are participating in any type of collaboration like that.
Before we go any further, I'd like to learn a little bit more about you personally.
Sure.
How long have you been in Simsbury, and what's your background in music and performing arts? I can tell you're a performer.
Yes, I am. I came to Simsbury, actually it would have been around 1990 or 91. Actually, I was teaching flute and chamber music at the Ethel Walker School at that time. And I also was teaching at Loomis Chaffee and in the Hart Community Division. I'm a professional flutist by trade, and I received my undergraduate degree from the University of South Florida and my graduate degree from the Hart School. So one of the things, again, I noticed about Simsbury was just the wonderful support of the arts. It seemed to be everywhere, not just in the schools, but also in the community level. So that kind of brought me onto deciding that I'd really love the opportunity to become certified in public school education. And once I did that, I fell in love with public school music and believe wholeheartedly in it, what it does for our students, not just those who go on to perform, because we do have many students who do that, but also just for the benefits it brings in terms of being able to present yourself, being critical thinkers and team players and problem solvers. And it's just a really exciting career to be a part of.
So that's interesting. You were doing some teaching there, and then you decided to go back to school. Interesting.
Oh, yes.
So did you have a specific teacher that inspired you in your musical career to learn the flute and stay with the flute? Or?
I've had many teachers in my history who have inspired me. So it's hard to pick one. I would say one who was really highly influential would have been my high school orchestra teacher. And the high school that I attended was actually very large, and it was more of a regional high school. So we had a symphonic orchestra there, and I was one of 3 flutists that played in that orchestra. And I was an asthmatic, so I didn't march in the marching band. And this orchestra director really believed in me, and she pushed me. And it was because of her nudging me that I began taking lessons with the principal flutist in the Florida orchestra at that time. And that kind of piqued my interest in more in pursuing music more and wanting to go to college to pursue music. So I would say that she was probably extremely influential in promoting me forward.
So you came to Simsbury 6 years ago? You've been here 6 years ago in this current position?
Yes, in this position. This is my sixth year.
You're in charge of a lot of things here.
Yes.
That can't be a 9 to 5 job.
No.
I assume you go to the performances and the concerts.
Yes.
And so how do you manage that? That's a lot of hours. And do you, I mean, I'm assuming you love it.
I love it, and I believe in everything that we're doing. You know, again, I just see the importance of what it does for our children. When you become a music educator, you have to know that your job is not a 9 to 5 job. And those are the types of teachers that we have here in Simsbury. That's one of the reasons I wanted to come here. Our staff are the very best of the best. And they also work above and beyond where they need to, just because they desire to do that for our students. We want to see them excelling. There are wonderful ensembles that are happening after school and before school. And so I wake up every day excited and knowing that those things are going forward. And we really work as a team in our department. We really and truly work as a team. We collaborate. So I'm certainly not running every aspect of this program by myself. The teachers are doing the groundwork. They have their feet on the ground in the classrooms, and we work together in order to do and to make the best situation for our students.
Now, where are you physically located? Do you have an office somewhere?
My office is at the high school. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And do you personally have a role in in the orchestra or in band, or do you have a personal little group that you actually direct?
I teach at the elementary level, and I teach all of the flutes this year at the Terriffill Elementary School. But each year that rotates according to where is the need the greatest. So we kind of decide where that would be, since obviously I'm a professional flutist. So each year I've taught in a different location. This year I enjoy teaching at Terriffill very much. It's a beautiful school, and it gives me the opportunity to see all of the different schools and to also be in contact with, really and truly in contact with what's happening in our classrooms.
There was just the day that we're recording that, there was just an internet, one of those internet, I don't know, niche or something that reported on top 100 schools.
Yes.
in the country, and Terriffill
Yes.
was one of them. So I've wanted to have you actually as a guest here ever since December. I like to go to holiday concerts,
Yes.
and I was looking for something nearby, and it was there that I discovered how many December concerts were instrumental concerts and choral concerts. And that gave me the idea that my daughter went to Simsbury High School, and she was very involved. She studied flute, but she gave it up because she couldn't do flute and chorus, and she wanted to sing. But at that time, I think they had 2 choral groups, but it's just expanded since
Yes.
then. So maybe we could go over an overview of what exactly is offered and when music education, performing arts, and that kind of thing starts. Now, you start in the elementary school.
So
right?
At the elementary level, every student is enrolled in general music. So every single student in our district, in elementary school, they all have a general music classroom experience, and they also, beginning in the 5th and 6th grade, have a choral experience, and they begin to sing in chorus. They can begin strings in the 4th grade, and they can begin a band instrument in the 5th grade if they so choose. Some students choose to stay with chorus, others choose to expand. So they have that opportunity. At the middle school level, every student is involved and enrolled in music, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing that we have in our district. So many districts do not have viable middle school programs. And when that happens, you actually lose any thought of your advanced program really growing and developing. And we're very fortunate the support that we have at the middle school from the administration and the upper administration. But every student is involved in music. They can take chorus, band, orchestra, or music technology, and they can combine some of those. So a student can take band and orchestra, or they can take band and chorus, or they can take orchestra and chorus.
That's
Music
an improvement.
technology, right, music technology is the only one that we don't combine it as a standalone class, but students have the opportunity to explore both singing and playing an instrument. And sometimes the other things they can explore outside of the school day. There's a music composition club, and we have a jazz band. We have a theater players program now
So now
after
you
school.
moved up to the high school, or this is still true of
That's
Henry
still at the
James?
middle school.
Oh my
That's
goodness,
at Henry
really?
James. Yes. So it's wonderful. As a matter of fact, we just received the good news that we had 28 middle school students who were accepted to perform at the Connecticut Region Festival, which is a great honor. So it's very exciting. And then at the high school, we expand even more from there. So students really and truly have the opportunity to explore the arts in our district.
So I noticed that the Henry James choral group performed at the Martin Luther King celebration.
Yes, and that group actually was also recently chosen to perform at the beginning of the Connecticut Music Educators Conference, which is an honored position. The high school group performed for that last year, so to have the middle school group follow is just absolutely outstanding. And at the high school, we have a symphonic band, we have a wind ensemble, a percussion ensemble, we have jazz band and jazz ensemble, we have 3 orchestras, we have a full theater curriculum, and our choral program. We have multiple choirs, and it's just, as a matter of fact, on the recent choir program, the winter concert program, they performed the Gloria Vivaldi, which is a phenomenal piece. And the fact that our students could even do that just speaks so well of our staff and our students.
So how many students are there actually who are interested in music? It sounds like, are there some duplications? Because it does sound like there's an awful lot going on.
Students do rotate in and out of classes. So again, they can take several. They can take 2 classes or 3 classes, depending on their schedule and the other requirements that they need to complete. But there are many students who take several music classes, especially if they're thinking about pursuing the arts in any way.
So as we're taping this, Into the Woods was just performed. It's last weekend. The last weekend was last weekend after we're taping this, before we're taping this rather. So let's talk a little bit about that. You're in charge of music and performing arts. Let's talk a little bit about the performing arts and Into the Woods and acting classes in the high school. You mentioned that you do that. I didn't know that. So, I mean, that's it's an amazing array of things that that students have to participate in.
Yes, and we actually have a number of students that have gone on to major in the performing arts, and they've gone on to colleges such as at NYU University. Dr. Stuart Younce is our theater director. Mrs. Colleen Thompson is our vocal teacher, and Mrs. Lisa Abel is in charge of the high school bands, and Dr. Ryan Ford is in charge of the orchestras. And I mention all of them because in order for the high school musical to take place, it is truly a collaborative process. When you see our students performing, it's really amazing to look at the fact that these students have been taking music since kindergarten. And you're watching the roots that have been instilled in our students from day one, and now you're getting to kind of see them at the end of this process, and it's truly outstanding. So students, by being involved in chorus, by being involved in theater classes, we have some students who compete. We don't offer dance at this time, but there are some students who compete outside of the school district in dance, and bringing all of this together, that's how we're able to produce wonderful performances like what you saw of Into the Woods.
How large is the faculty, and is it full-time, or are there a lot of part-timers left?
We at the high school we only have a few that are part-time. So all of our elementary teachers who are with us are all full-time. At the middle school, they're all full-time with us. And at the high school, except for the jazz band instructor, everyone else is full-time.
So it's interesting. I've actually heard from some non-parents, I've heard them complain that we spend too much on theater productions and the arts. I'm assuming that the administration shields you from that. Have they ever asked you to pare down or?
Well, actually, the musical is funded by itself. So the majority of what you see happening, we charge tickets, we charge admission, and so we use that funding in order to pay for the musical. The majority of that is paid for by the ticket sales.
So, and I've heard there's a parent support group called Simsbury Friends of the Music and
Yes.
Performing Arts. Tell me a little bit about them and what they do.
They are phenomenal. They're another reason that we were nominated by NAM. And the Simsbury Friends for Music is a parent support group who they're just amazing. We meet on a regular basis. We meet one Monday of the month, and we meet together as a team at the high school. I meet with them. They are their own nonprofit organization, and they work endlessly to raise funding for all types of experiences for our students that happen outside of the school day. So for instance, some of the adjudications, or for instance, for the students participating in this region concert coming up, the Friends for Music, they raise the funding for that. They do that through an annual fundraiser that they have, but also they do it by parents donating just a little bit to their organization. Their names are printed in our concert program, and we are recognizing them for their efforts. And all of that goes to support special events in our classroom. Sometimes there are many guest artists that come through our district. They're paid for by the Friends for Music. So again, this is another example of the type of collaboration that we have. We have an annual townwide festival that occurs every year, and it rotates. This year it's a townwide jazz festival on April 2nd. We'll have a guest artist come in for that. Other years it's the orchestra festival or the chorus or the band. And the Simsbury Friends for Music funds that entire festival for the guest artists to come in, those clinicians to work with our students, so work with them in the classrooms, and then there's a final culminating concert that occurs. So to be able to bring in the types of quality musicians that work with our students, it's really amazing. One musician I can think of who comes in has come in repeatedly is Eric Dolan, who is one of the principal cellists of the Hartford Symphony Orchestra. To have someone like this working with our students it's really outstanding. And the Friends for Music make that happen through their generous donations and the donations of parents and community members. So we hope that other people will seek us out. We have a district webpage, and if you look on that, if you click on district and music and performing arts, you'll see the Friends for Music link, and you can find out more information about them.
And they're also on
amazing.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yes, they're really wonderful.
You know, as I listen to you talk, I think it sounds to me quite extraordinary that so much is going on in the arts in Simsbury in a time when so many schools have cut back on what they call frills. Now, do you have contact with fellow educators, and are they jealous of you? Or?
I do have contact. I'm very fortunate. Today I attended a meeting of the Connecticut Arts Administrators Association, and those are other art supervisors from all over the state. And we meet together regularly in order to collaborate and to support one another and give ideas. We are truly, truly fortunate in Simsbury. But music and the performing arts are not frills at all. And I know that you're aware of that. But the reason that I say that, things have really evolved. We have a standards-based curriculum. We have national core arts standards. Our curriculum is based on those national core arts standards. We have end-of-course assessments. We have common assessments that our students are assessed on a regular basis, and we use that in order to inform our instruction. And those are some of the reasons that you see our students achieving at the levels that they do. One of the benefits, other benefits that you find out from students participating in the arts are that by participating in the arts, some of them are obvious. they are busy doing wonderful, positive things. That's number one.
Not getting into trouble.
Not getting into trouble. When I first moved to Simsbury, I was so impressed. I don't have my own children in the system at all. I don't have children, but when I came here, I was so impressed because I saw so many young people who were working in the supermarket, or they were in a sporting activity, or they were performing in something. And I thought, this is one of the reasons that this community is great. These young people are involved in really positive experiences. So that was number one. Number two, the skills that students obtain from participating in these experiences. If I think of those students who just performed on the stage for the musical, for an audience, a full house is approximately 900 people. They're singing and dancing and acting. Those skills, whether they go on to be professional performers or whether they're presenting. Many of us have had students who in the past have gone on to maybe the medical field or become attorneys, and they frequently tell us that they tap into those skills when they're operating in their professional context. So the arts are far from a frill. They're certainly something that's a core part of our curriculum in Simsbury. It's one of the reasons I wanted to come here and to work here. It's a pleasure to work in a place where the arts are so highly respected and valued. Our central office administration, our superintendent, they support us. They hold us to very high, rigorous standards, but their support of what we do is phenomenal, and we see the fruits of that when our students come back and tell us about their experiences after they leave.
Well, I can concur completely. I was involved in community theater and children's theater when I was growing up. Schools didn't do that kind of thing at the time. And I later went on to become a broadcaster.
Yes.
And I know that
Yes.
I didn't want to be an actress, but I know that that I benefited from all the performing that I did.
Yes.
So from what you said earlier, you are not intending to create professional performers or musicians, but so maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you think students benefit, what impact it has on their brains, and more than just their presentation. Do you? I mean, I think that there's been some research into that.
There is, and actually, we do hope that many of them go on to become professionals, and many of them do, which is exciting. There is definitely research involving the cognitive aspects of performing and being involved in music, especially at the early years. This is where elementary music is extremely critical for students when their brains are developing, in terms of that opportunity, to what it does in terms of their cognitive process. There are close links and research associated, especially out of Northwestern University by Dr. Nina Kraus. And actually I have a link on the website for parents. They could take a deeper look at that research, what happens in the brain when students are involved and engaged in a musical process. It helps them in their close coordinations, and showing that it helps them to perform better at school when they're involved in music and the performing arts.
So there is another connection. I mean, I've noticed, for instance, the Port Authority in New York, a very public bus station, has classical music piped in. They don't have pop music. And I personally have had this theory that there is something that helps work on the entire body, the rhythm of the body, the brain, when you listen to beautiful music, not necessarily rap. I don't think rap does the same thing. It has a different impact. But I think it's really important for both, as you said, young children, but also high school students.
Yes, for everyone, it's really, really important. And again, you can see it lights up certain centers of the brain when you're engaged in that process. So there are different theories out there about the different types of music, but to be honest with you, just any experience involved in participating in the arts, or even being able to say critically what you enjoy or I don't like this, and be able to answer that responsibly and intelligently, and then being able to engage others in that process. It's an important part of being a whole human being, and being immersed in your culture around you and being able to participate and enjoy it.
You know, since I went to school, so much has changed because of technology. But I wonder if technology has changed music education.
Yes.
And how?
It has. We actually also are fortunate. I work closely with our technology director. She's wonderful and being responsive to us. We use technology in the classroom in terms of assessment, recording our students, We also, technology is an important part of them working in the music classroom with smartboard technology, especially at the elementary level. So it is something that we use. There is also music recording software that we use. We have a keyboarding lab at the middle school, MIDI lab where students are involved in the music composition class, music technology, and they're composing their compositions on the keyboard, on the software. So it certainly has changed in the way that we use it, and there are more and more opportunities every day, depending on which direction you want to go with your curriculum and within your district.
Now, you mentioned that you play the flute.
Yes.
Do you still perform?
I do, not as frequently because, as you can see, I'm pretty busy. And so I've taken more of a turn in my career to supporting our students and our teachers. However, Dr. Ryan Ford has asked me to perform. We have a concert coming up soon for a fundraiser. And he asked me to perform on that. It'll take place here at Eno Hall.
Oh, wonderful.
And so
When
I
is
will
that?
actually be playing, I believe it's on March, forgive me, I was just looking at my calendar. I believe it's March 2nd, but let me find out the actual date from Dr.
Okay.
Ryan Ford. And so I'll actually be playing a short piece for that. And earlier this year, I played on a piece with the high school chorus, and I performed with Mrs. Colleen Thompson and some of our phenomenal high school percussion students. And it was thrilling for me to be able to make music with them. It was really wonderful.
Well, Angela, our time is up. Thank you so much for coming. I'm sure our viewers will agree that we have learned a lot about what goes on in the Simsbury school system and you, and I'm so glad I asked you about your performing. So we'll certainly take a look at March 2nd, and I bet a lot of people will be there. I'd also like to thank everyone here at SCTV behind the scenes for their help in getting this show on the air, and of course, thank you for watching. If you missed any part of the show, you can always watch on demand. Just go to simsburytv.org, where you can also see the schedule of when our shows air on SCTV's 3 channels, Comcast 5, 95, and 96, and Frontier 99. I'm Dominique Avery. See you next time for Simsbury School News.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.